In this video, you are going to learn about integers, as well as how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide integers. Let's consider this number line here. As you can see, this number line goes from 0 to 9 and has positive numbers which we are familiar working with. Now in a number line, we can also go the opposite way, and we can have negative numbers such as -2, -4, -6. And as you can see, we have both positive and negative integers. Now negative integers are a bit different. As you can see, we know that 5 is greater than 3 in positive integers. However, negative integers is kind of reversed. -5 is less than -3. And this is because -5 is a higher value of a negative, which means it's more negative, which makes it smaller than -3. Now we can also use a number line to explain this. Now on a number line here, we have -5, -3, 3, and 5. Now as you can see, 5 is greater than 3 because it's on the right side of 3. Now we know that -3 is greater than -5 because -3 is on the right side of -5. And so whichever number is on the right side of the number line makes that number greater, and whichever number is on the left side makes that number smaller. Now let's take a look at adding. So as we can see, 7 plus -2. Now in this case here, we have a double sign. We have a positive and a negative, so a plus and a minus next to each other. When we have this, when the signs are different, so here plus and minus are two different signs, we simply make it a minus. So we're left with 7 minus 2, which is simply 5. Now let's say we have 6 minus -9. Now as you can see, we have two signs next to each other again. And when we have this, if the signs are the same, so in this case both of the signs are negative, it simply converts to positive. So 6 plus 9, which is 17. So to recap, whenever we have a double sign, if it's different signs, so plus and minus, it turns into a minus. And when we have two minuses or two plus, it simply turns into a plus. Now let's say when that's not the case, so -7 plus 2. Here we do not have a double sign. So how would we do this? Well, in order for us to do this, let's take a look at this table over here. Now as you can see, from 0 we go up 1, 2, and then we start going down, -1, -2, -3. And what we simply do here is that we start at the first number. So our first number is -7, and it's plus 2. So when we're adding 2, we're in a way increasing its value by 2. So we're moving it up 2. And so that brings us to -5. So therefore, -7 plus 2 equals -5. Now we can also apply this to -1 minus 3. So we simply start at our first number, -1. And we're subtracting 3. Now subtraction can be thought of as decreasing a value. And so here we subtract 3, so we move down 3, and because we move down 3, we are left with -4. So -1 minus 3 equals -4. Now let's put the two concepts together, -4 minus -6. So as we can see, we have a double sign here. We have two negatives next to each other, and we can simply convert this into a positive. So we have -4 plus 6. Now we simply take a look at this table again, and we start at -4. And because we are adding, we are moving up 6. So we're increasing this value by 6. And so when we move up 6, we're at 2. So -4 plus 6 equals positive 2. Now what about multiplying? So when we have something like -7 times positive 2, well, let's just take a look at these two signs. So we have a negative multiplied by a positive. Now, similar to adding and subtracting, when the signs are different, so as we can see, negative and positive are two different signs, then we're simply left with a negative. So the answer is going to be -14. So we simply multiply 7 and 2 like we do with positive numbers, and we're left with 14. And because negative and positive are two different signs, we simply write this as -14. Now let's say we have -9 times -6. Because in this example here, we have two negatives. And two negatives are the same sign, and they cancel each other out to make a positive. So we are left with 36. Now the same rule applies to dividing. So -8 divided by +2. Now, as we can see here, the signs are different, and when we have a negative and a positive, these are two different signs, and therefore we're left with a negative, negative 4. And if we have something like negative 56 divided by negative 7, these are two of the same signs, and since the signs are the same, we're left with a positive. So negative 56 divided by negative 7 equals 8. This concludes integers. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below, and they will be answered as soon as possible.